What if everything you thought you knew about aging was wrong? What if getting older did not have to mean slowing down, giving up, or simply accepting pain as a normal part of life? What if I told you that some of the healthiest, most energetic, most joyful people on this planet are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and that the secret they share has nothing to do with expensive medicine, complicated diets, or extreme exercise? Stay with me because in the next few minutes, I am going to share something that could genuinely change the way you think about your health for the rest of your life. I am Melanie Sander, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about senior health, and I want to be upfront with you. This is one of the topics I am most passionate about because I have seen firsthand what happens when older adults are told the wrong story about their bodies. I have seen people in their 60s believe that decline is inevitable. I have seen people in their 70s stop trying because nobody ever told them it was worth it. And I have seen people in their 80s completely transform their health, their energy, and their happiness just by making a few consistent, intentional changes. That is what today is all about. So let us start with the biggest myth I want to shatter right now. The myth is this: aging automatically means deterioration. That after a certain age, your body is just on a downhill slide, and there is nothing you can do about it. I want you to hear me very clearly on this. That is not true. Yes, our bodies change as we get older. Yes, there are real biological shifts that happen over time. But the research, and I mean decades of solid peer-reviewed research, tells us something very different from what most people believe. It tells us that the way most people age is not the way humans have to age. It tells us that a huge proportion of what we call normal aging is actually the result of inactivity, poor nutrition, social isolation, and chronic stress. And every single one of those things is within our power to change. The body, even in its 70s and 80s and beyond, retains an extraordinary capacity to heal, to strengthen, to adapt, and to improve. Scientists call this neuroplasticity and muscular plasticity. What it means in plain language is that your brain and your muscles can still grow, still change, still get stronger at any age. This is not wishful thinking. This is biology. And once you truly understand this, once you feel it in your bones, everything changes. Now let us talk about the 4 pillars of senior health that I believe every older adult needs to know about. These are not complicated, they are not expensive, but they are powerful beyond measure when practiced consistently. The first pillar is movement. And I want to be careful here because when a lot of older adults hear the word exercise, they immediately picture something that feels impossible or dangerous or simply not for them. Maybe they have joint pain. Maybe they had a surgery. Maybe they have not been physically active in years and the idea of starting feels overwhelming. I want to speak directly to those people right now and say this: movement does not have to be intense to be transformative. In fact, some of the most life-changing forms of movement for seniors are the gentlest ones. Walking is the single most studied, most consistently beneficial form of exercise for older adults. Not power walking, not speed walking, just regular walking. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed thousands of adults over 70 and found that those who walked regularly had significantly lower rates of disability, better cardiovascular health, better cognitive function, and longer lifespans. Not gym goers, not marathon runners, walkers, people who simply put on their shoes and move their bodies through the world every day. Beyond walking, strength training for seniors is one of the most underappreciated health interventions in medicine. After the age of 30, the average person loses between 3 and 5% of their muscle mass every decade. By the time someone reaches their 70s, that adds up to a significant loss of strength, balance, and functional ability. But here is the incredible thing. Resistance training, even light resistance training with bands or small weights, can reverse this process. Studies have shown muscle growth and strength gains in adults well into their 80s and 90s. Your muscles do not know how old your birth certificate says you are. They only know whether they are being challenged and nourished. Balance training is the third form of movement that every older adult needs in their life. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury and death in people over 65. And the saddest part is that the majority of falls are preventable. Simple daily balance exercises, standing on one foot for 30 seconds, walking heel to toe across a room, gentle tai chi, can dramatically reduce fall risk. These are not hard exercises, but they are exercises that could save your life or the life of someone you love. So that is the first pillar, movement. Walking, light strength training, balance work. Not every day has to be intense, but every day should include some intentional movement. The second pillar is nutrition, and this is a subject where there is so much noise and so much confusion that I want to keep this as simple and as practical as possible. As we age, our nutritional needs shift. Our metabolism slows down, our appetite can decrease, our body's ability to absorb certain nutrients changes. But the fundamentals of good nutrition for seniors are actually quite straightforward. Protein is the most important macronutrient for older adults, and most seniors are not getting nearly enough of it. Protein is what your body uses to build and maintain muscle. It is what keeps you strong and functional. It is what helps you recover from illness and injury. The recommended daily amount for seniors is higher than most people realize. Around 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. That means eggs, fish, chicken, legumes, dairy, and protein-rich plants should be showing up at nearly every meal. Calcium and vitamin D are the dynamic duo that most older adults are deficient in, and that deficiency has enormous consequences for bone health. Osteoporosis, the weakening of bones that makes fractures so dangerous in older adults, is not inevitable. It is largely preventable and even reversible with adequate calcium intake, vitamin D, and weight-bearing exercise. Talk to your doctor about your levels. This one is genuinely important. Hydration is something that gets less attention than it deserves when we talk about senior health. As we age, our sense of thirst becomes less reliable. Many older adults are chronically mildly dehydrated without even realizing it, and the effects are significant. Fatigue, brain fog, urinary tract infections, constipation, dizziness, and increased fall risk. The simple habit of drinking water consistently throughout the day, not just when you feel thirsty, can make an enormous difference in how you feel on a daily basis. And I want to say one more thing about nutrition for seniors, and this is something I feel strongly about. Food is not just fuel. Food is pleasure. Food is culture. Food is gathering and memory and love. Please do not let any diet program or any wellness trend convince you that eating well has to mean eating joylessly. A plate of vegetables matters, but so does the pleasure of sharing a meal with someone you love. Both of those things nourish you. Both of them count. The third pillar is mental and cognitive health. And this is where I think the conversation about senior health most urgently needs to evolve. We talk so much about the physical body. We talk about joints and bones and heart health and blood pressure. But we do not talk nearly enough about the brain. We do not talk enough about mental sharpness and cognitive longevity and the very real, very serious impact of loneliness and depression on the physical health of older adults. Let me give you a statistic that stopped me cold when I first read it. Chronic loneliness in older adults is associated with a 45% increased risk of premature death. Not smoking, not inactivity, loneliness. Loneliness is now considered by many public health experts to be one of the biggest health crises facing the aging population, and it makes complete biological sense. Human beings are wired for connection. When we are isolated, our stress hormones rise, our immune function drops, our sleep suffers, and our cognitive decline accelerates. Connection is not a luxury. For older adults, connection is medicine. This is why I am such a passionate advocate for older adults finding their communities, whether that is a walking group, a book club, a faith community, a volunteer organization, a fitness class at the local community center, or even an online community. The specific form matters far less than the consistency of human contact. If you are watching this and you feel isolated, please hear me. Reaching out is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful health decisions you can make. On the cognitive side, the research is genuinely exciting. We used to think that cognitive decline was inevitable and irreversible. We now know that is not entirely true. The brain maintains its capacity for growth and change throughout life. Learning new skills, engaging in mentally stimulating activities, reading, playing musical instruments, learning a language, doing puzzles, all of these create new neural connections and build what scientists call cognitive reserve. This is essentially a buffer against dementia and cognitive decline. You are literally building a stronger brain every time you challenge it to learn something new. Exercise, as it turns out, is also one of the most powerful brain health interventions we know of. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is basically fertilizer for brain cells, and has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. When you walk, you are not just strengthening your heart and your legs, you are protecting your mind. The fourth and final pillar is sleep. And I want to devote real time to this one because sleep is the most undervalued health behavior in almost every age group, but it is especially critical and especially misunderstood when it comes to seniors. There is a widespread belief that older adults need less sleep. This is not true. Older adults need just as much sleep as younger adults, between 7 and 9 hours per night. What changes is sleep architecture. The structure of sleep cycles tends to shift, making it harder to fall asleep, harder to stay asleep, and more likely to wake early. But needing less sleep is a myth, and acting on that myth by accepting poor sleep as normal is causing real harm to millions of older adults. Poor sleep in seniors is associated with higher rates of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, cognitive decline, and increased fall risk. The body does its most important repair work during deep sleep. Inflammation is regulated, memories are consolidated, hormones are balanced, the immune system is strengthened. When you consistently shortchange your sleep, all of those processes are disrupted. So what can you do? Sleep hygiene matters enormously. Keep a consistent sleep and wake time even on weekends. Make your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Limit screens for at least an hour before bed. Avoid caffeine after midday. Get natural light exposure in the morning because this sets your circadian rhythm. Limit alcohol. It may help you fall asleep, but it dramatically reduces sleep quality. And if you are struggling with sleep despite doing all of these things, please talk to your doctor. Sleep disorders like sleep apnea are common in older adults and are absolutely treatable. You do not have to just live with bad sleep. Now I want to bring all 4 of these pillars together because here is what I think is the most important message of this entire video. Movement, nutrition, mental health, and sleep do not work in isolation. They work together as an interconnected system. When you sleep better, you have more energy to move. When you move more, you sleep better and your mood improves. When your mood improves and you are more socially connected, you make better food choices and you are more motivated to care for yourself. When you eat well, your brain works better, your energy is higher, and your physical performance improves. Every single one of these pillars reinforces all the others. You do not have to get all 4 perfect at once. You just have to start somewhere. I want to tell you about a man named Gerald who is 72 years old. When Gerald first started his journey, he had been sedentary for almost a decade. He had high blood pressure, prediabetes, chronic back pain, and he had quietly started to accept the idea that his best years were behind him. He started small, just a 10-minute walk every morning. Then he added a few simple body weight exercises. He cleaned up his eating, not perfectly, but consistently. He started attending a weekly group fitness class for seniors at his local community center, and he made friends. Real friends. He started sleeping better, his blood pressure dropped, his blood sugar normalized, his back pain reduced significantly. And one day, about 8 months into his journey, he said something I will never forget. He said, "I feel more like myself than I have in 20 years. That is what is possible. That is what is available to you. Not a version of yourself that fights against aging, but a version of yourself that ages with strength, with dignity, with joy, with full engagement in the life you have." Gerald did not turn back the clock. He did something better. He refused to let the clock stop him. Before I wrap up, I want to say something to the family members and caregivers who might be watching this. If you love an older adult in your life, one of the greatest gifts you can give them is encouragement and accompaniment. Walk with them, cook with them, Move with them, include them, ask them about their health, advocate for them with their doctors. The research shows that social support from family is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. Your presence in their life is not just emotionally meaningful, it is medically significant. And to every senior watching this today, I want you to know something. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not past the point of change. Every single day, your body wakes up ready to adapt to whatever you ask of it. Every single day is a chance to take one step, eat one nourishing meal, make one phone call, get one extra hour of sleep. It does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. One small choice, repeated every day, adds up to something extraordinary over time. Your story is not over. In so many ways, for so many people, the most meaningful, most vibrant, most fully alive chapter is still ahead. And I want to help you write it. If this video resonated with you, if something shifted, if you felt even a small spark of possibility about what your health could look like going forward, then I have one simple request. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it. A parent, a grandparent, a friend, a neighbor. You might not realize it, but pressing that share button could be the thing that genuinely changes someone's life. And if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please do that right now. Hit the subscribe button below and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Every week, I bring you real, honest, practical content about health and fitness that actually works in real life for real people at every stage of their journey. This community is growing, and it is full of people just like you who are choosing to show up for themselves every single day. I would love for you to be part of it. I am Milani Sander. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.